Hey YouTube, Do-It-Yourself Junkie 369 here on day 56 of our RV-10 build, and today I'm continuing work on the horizontal stabilizer. And yesterday I made a mistake. I cut this down to 1 3/8 inches instead of 2 3/8 inches, and I thought I might have to get more material. So last night came back and I drew out the pieces. And as you can see there's the cutoff to make this leg 1 inch. And there is the angles cut where this flares out towards the nose and then comes back only 1.5 inches wide near at the back. And then this is the straight edge that I'll have to put in here on this piece. So you have the left and the right bracket, and I basically got a pin's width to play with there, and I can salvage this and get the pieces I need out of this without having to go out and buy something new. So I got really lucky there, but I cannot afford to make another mistake on this. And using a vise to hold this would be the ideal thing to do. And I do have one, but it's over there in the corner, and I didn't want to mess with repositioning the table. And then the type of vise I have, I'm not sure how much easier this job would have been trying to use it, because it's mainly like a woodworking vise. And I'll get into it more in depth later. Best I can tell, the reason that this piece comes like this, and the reason a few other pieces are like this, is because of the 51% rule. And so where you have raw materials and you make it into something, that counts for quite a bit. I mean, I can bring up the chart and show you, but having basically, if you have everything pre-made and you just assemble it, like all the holes in there, the flanges all bent, this piece like already made, your plane isn't eligible through that 51% rule. So you have to have some raw materials being turned into parts. And then I do the angle cut first, because this back edge here is supposed to have that matching angle in it. And then once it's cut, I can go straight down the line and keep the blade at an angle here inside this cut. That way it basically acts like a miter box. Okay, so that piece is going to be the right front bracket. We'll work on it in a minute. Basically need to cut this angle in here to get this piece right, and then cut this flat. And what I'm running into here is I'm running out of ways that I'm able to hold this piece while cutting on it. Okay, so basically I don't have an edge like this that I can work with on my workbench, so I'm going to clamp to here and then clamp this to the workbench, and that will help me get around how hard it is to hold this small piece. In a way that I can have the clamp out of the way of the saw blade when I'm cutting. Because this is kind of a moment arm out here with a pivot here, it's going to twist. So So I'm putting this clamp here to, when I at least do the pull stroke, it shouldn't twist back on me. And there is basically the roughed out version of the left one. It'll look more recognizable in a second when I remove this excess material here that's giving it a weird look. Basically, all the angles are wrong. Okay, so finished shaping out the left one, and here's the right one that needs cut down. I still have to cut this side, which is the part I missed up on. As you can see there, I already have the line drawn. I'm not going to make that mistake again. So that's from bottom to the line is 2 3/8, not 1 3/8 like I did on the first piece, which is completely wrong. I think I got distracted describing like how to read a 3-view drawing that I didn't read the number off the drawing twice and cut without verifying. And then once I got it made, it's like, oh, I don't have enough room to go up 2 1/16 for the hole that gets drilled. So at that point, it became apparent that I had messed up pretty good. And now you can see the right one and the left one. And then all I have to do is trim this leg to 2 3/8, and we're ready to round the corners on both of them. So managed to salvage that, didn't have to go out and buy a new piece. This leg getting cut, the piece getting cut off of it so short, I'm going to continue to use my 2x4 here, but I'm probably going to have to flip it up into this orientation and lay the piece I'm cutting across there like that. See, that way I can clamp it back here and I have the piece I'm cutting off over the free end. Which my clamps won't hold that to the table. I have to break out some bigger clamps. Or, yep, okay, I've got an idea. Now that I'm paranoid, I'm going to measure this line one last time. Yep, 2 3/8, 2 3/8, 2 3/8. I'm not going to have a repeat. Can't mess this piece up. So that's the right and left one built correctly. Now got to smooth off these edges, round the corners, and get ready to drill the holes. Just to be safe, I'm marking it left and right, although yeah, there's a chance I could still mess this up. Somehow. I'm sure I could figure out a way. So we're going to try not to do that. So next step is to smooth everything down and round the edges. Okay, so I finished shaping these pieces while I was downloading all the videos off the hard drive of my camera. It had filled up, and now it's time to mark and drill the holes. And according to the directions, these have to be very accurately placed. Now, on this drawing, for the two holes here on the bottom piece, or the bottom leg, they did something I don't like. So your first hole is 3/8 from the edge, and then your second hole is 27/32 from that hole, not from the edge. So just be aware of that when you're marking it out. And if you go from the edge, the two holes will be too close together and it will not look like the drawing. So that should remind you to look at where that dimension is coming off of. And then I like using the center punch for this because you can place it exactly on the spot where those two lines cross. And now you have a hole that your drill bit's going to stay in while you start drilling the piece, and you don't have to worry about the drill bit walking all over or the hole ending up in a spot that you didn't slightly off-center from your mark. And while I'm doing this one, I might as well do the step 4 and mark the right-hand one as well. I'd really love to have like a milling machine / drill press / lathe. Like I've used Smithy and I like their Granite series, and when I went in to retrieve the camera, it still had a few minutes left recording, and I was looking at buying one of those machines, used of course. New, they're kind of expensive and I'd rather spend the money on the airplane. But the only one I could find that I liked, I guess there's two, but one of them has been turned into a CNC setup, which sounds great, except for if they didn't change the screws, you're going to have gear lash that makes CNC kind of pointless. So the only other one I liked was a nice 1340, but it was all the way out in Las Vegas. So I'm not sure about driving all the way out to get a machine that basically I won't see. I mean, there's photos up on the ad, but I won't get a good idea of everything I want to look at and check on it until I'm there in person. Plus, right now I don't really have a good spot to put it in my garage. I'd have to clean up and get some junk out of here. While I'm marking stuff up, I might as well put in the mark for the 1/8 inch hole that gets drilled in these. And that gets from the 90-degree edge, that gets put in 3/4 of an inch over. And then 2 1/16 up from the bottom. And this is the part, this is the hole that they say you must be as accurate as you can be in placing it, because it determines the location of bracket on the front spar assembly. Next couple pages get pretty crazy. Hands are starting to cramp from holding this saw. Might not seem like a long time for you guys, but you gotta think I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 cuts on those pieces through some pretty thick aluminum, and then now I've got to cut all these pieces too. And the other 4 pieces that I have to cut aren't used till page 6. And this is on page 4. Actually, I'm not even sure it's used on page 6. No, it's not. They're finally starting to be used on page 9. So I'll probably cut the first 2, which are used immediately, and then go on to the next page and do some work, and then come back and cut these a little bit after my hands have gotten a chance to rest.
Daddy, what is 200 plus 200?
400, why?
Just telling you.
Huh?
What is 500 plus 500?
1,000.
No, 1,000.
That's the same thing.
It's not.
It is.
Wait, 1,000?
How do you write 1,000? 100 has 2 zeros, right?
Yeah.
And 10 has 1 0, right?
Yeah.
And then a 1. So that's 1 0 0 0. That's 3 zeros
Okay.
for 1,000.
Bye.
It's not good night. You're going to karate.
Bye.
Bye.
Last addition. What is 100 plus 100?
200.
What is 200 plus 200?
400.
What is 400 plus 400?
800. This is another piece that probably needs to be straightened. Although, it's interesting that the spar caps were curved quite a bit, and on that the solution was just use a ton of clamps. But on this, it seems like you should probably straighten it out. And now that that's straight, we can go ahead and start deburring it. This piece, pieces, the holes are not symmetrical, so you want to make sure you have the doubler and the spar lined up to where the holes are matching, except for the four that are about 3/16 size. If you have a whole bunch of holes that look like they need to be drilled, match drilled, because they don't exist in one piece or the other, then you did it wrong. I think this came out of sub-kit 8. The next step is you clamp something flat to these pieces. That way they stay square. So I just grabbed this piece of angle aluminum out of this sub-kit. I believe it came out of sub-kit 8. I'm going to use that. And right goes on your left and left goes on your right. So on deburring this part, I'm going to only do the holes that I match drilled because it looks like I have a chance to, after this is painted, match drill the rest of these holes, and then I'll probably deburr them at that time. Finally done with step one. that's going to be it for today. I'm on step 1, page 7, which is basically deburring these ribs that I've been modifying. It's the first time that I've used those metal snips, and it's just easier to get into this area with those than trying to get in there with a saw of some sort. The only deal is it does bend the metal, so then you might have seen me trying to bend it back. It also says in this step to flute these if they're not straight. These are straight. I mean, if I flute them, they're going to bend the wrong direction. So I think I'm just going to leave them alone and deburr them and get ready for what comes after that. Hope you like this video. Hopefully these videos are much shorter when I get around to editing them. And if you're thinking about building your own RV, it doesn't have to be a 10, it could be any of them. When you order your first kit, please use my builder number as a reference. It's in the description below. You send that in with your order and Vans will send me $100. And if you enjoyed the video, please hit the thumbs up button. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do that as well. And any questions or comments, feel free to leave them. I'll try to answer all of them. I haven't gotten too many so far, and so far it's been, the comments have been supportive. Thanks for that. I enjoy working on it. I enjoy shooting the video. Don't enjoy editing them so much, but that's part of the deal. And if I want to upload videos, I need to edit them down. Otherwise, like this section of the video for today would have been like 4 hours long, and you guys don't want to sit down and watch that. Also in the description is my build log. You can take a look at it. It's more up to date than my videos are, just by nature of how long it takes me to edit a video. I'm starting to get back into the swing of working on this quite a bit. I still have a lot of homework to do, and then I also have a bike that I need to paint and get it ready to sell or start riding it again. That way it's not just sitting there being insured and licensed and not getting used. So at some point I'm going to have to take a little bit of a break again and work on that kind of stuff. And my kids need a swing set, so I need to build that at some point too. Anyway, hopefully I get to work on this tomorrow, and thanks for watching.